Dominic Salvino waited patiently to be addressed by the High Priestess, the head of the Silverheart Coven. The coven gathered within the building known as the Church of Covens. The exterior, an abandoned warehouse in appearance to any passers-by of human descent who may accidentally come across the building and the church. Though a gathering spot for the Silverheart Coven was also one of many portals that led into another realm, a realm unbeknownst to humans called Tenebrosity. The church, where all circle activities and meetings were held, was a sight to behold indeed. The essence of every grand Gothic medieval European cathedral, gray-stoned, gargoyles perched on high, etc., and where all were currently awaiting the High Priestess's voice to sound. Dominic had been informed by the High Priestess herself, moments prior to the gathering, that he would be infiltrating one of the top witch hunter academies to find the one they had been searching for nearly a decade. He was doing his best to keep his excitement in check, for this was his first undercover mission, and as the youngest Silverheart member at age 20 to be given such an important one, it was the highest of compliments. Beyond the heavy oak doors of the entrance were intricately carved wooden pews with engravings of coven symbols and ritualistic runes. The pews for the coven differed from human church pews only slightly, because where typical churches just had wooden benches, this place had cushioned benching and backings in cream-colored suede leather, soft to the touch and comfortable to sit upon. Where most of those chose to utilize these seats, Dominic had been given permission to sit in a high-backed chair near where the High Priestess stood. High Priestess stood on a raised platform and gazed out across the crowd, dressed in her ceremonial garb that consisted of a gown of silky white, an ivory cloak draped upon her shoulders, a silver diadem positioned to rest against the center of her forehead and wrapped around to hook at the back, hidden within her silver-white hair. She is truly the embodiment of the goddess Hecate, Dominic thought to himself as he gazed in her direction, admiring her beauty from where he sat. All the Silverheart Coven patiently waited to find out why they had been summoned at such a late hour.
As we continually strive to find a means to an end for this war that has been waged upon us for centuries, new knowledge of an old legend has come to light. The myth of that of a hunter-turned-witch is no longer just a story,
she said, her voice rising a pitch higher in excitement as she finished her speech. Members of the circle began to whisper, turning to their neighbors, questioning among themselves how this could be so. High Priestess raised her hand to quiet everyone.
As you are all aware, we have spies placed throughout the hunters' organizations and academies, who have been supplying intel on the activities and movements of the Hunters Association for decades. Unbeknownst to the hunters, there has been an active undercurrent of magic flowing through one of their schools called the Black Sun Academy. We are nearly certain this is where our savior will be found. There are a handful of students who will turn 18 between All Hallows Eve and the winter solstice, who currently attend this academy in particular, which has helped narrow our search of the one immensely. One of these is the one causing the spikes in magic readings our empath team have been feeling in the area. It will henceforth be Dominic's job to remove the child before their full power is revealed.
High Priestess turned her full attention to Dominic, and as she did so, he stood up out of respect before she continued to speak.
Do you accept this mission, Dominic Salvino?
Her amber eyes looked like a pool of liquid gold as they pierced Dominic's very soul, while trying to convey the urgency of the task that was bestowed upon him. Bowing his head, his pitch-black hair falling across his forehead and into his eyes as he did, cordially accepted the job.
It will be my honor,
he announced for all of the coven to hear, and then turned back to High Priestess and bowed to her as well.
I'm beyond excited, Ella!
I squealed to my best friend. She squeals too, her sandy blonde, natural wavy hair bouncing as we jump up and down. At this moment, we are standing in the middle of the courtyard of the Black Sun Academy, enjoying what is probably the last warm autumn day of the year, with blue skies above and soft, fluffy clouds drifting along at a leisurely pace. You know the type, those clouds that look like cotton candy, and the trees surrounding us with their array of colorful leaves. When I stand next to Ella, as I currently am, I cringe. I despise the fact that I tower over her. I want to be as tiny and pixie cute as she is. Her 5'2" impish frame compared to my 5'8" ginormous height makes me sick. I can't stand being a giant. Of course, she complains just as much about being short. So inevitably, we are the perfect pair. Besties for life.
I can't believe you're turning 18 in 5 days, Alina. It's so unfair.
She whines, pouting dramatically. I huff a small laugh.
Oh, hush. You literally turn 18 3 weeks after me.
I state as I playfully push her.
I know, but my birthday isn't on Halloween.
She exclaims, like we are ones to celebrate the holiday. I can't help but roll my eyes at her.
Well, at least you're throwing a kickback party, Allie. I can't wait to pick up my costume. You mean you finally decided what you want to wear? I don't believe it!
I say, throwing my hand to my chest, mock surprise in my voice. I personally have had my outfit since August, but she doesn't need to know that.
So what you gonna be?
Smiling slyly, she says in hushed words,
The Wicked Witch from the Wizard of Isle.
My mouth falls open and my eyes grow wide.
You are not!
I exclaim, shocked that she would think of such a costume. My eyes are nearly bulging out of their sockets because of her claim.
Are you trying to get kicked out of the academy, Ela? No, better yet, are you crazy? You can't dress up like a witch unless you're wanting the association to burn you at the stake.
Gosh, Allie. Chill out. I was totally joking. Geesh.
She shakes her head, piercing honey gold eyes staring back at me like I am the mental one, placing 2 fingers against the pulse in my neck to see if it really is running rampant. I sigh in relief.
You totally had me for a minute, Elle.
I state as I glance around the lawn, worried that someone may have heard our conversation as a nervous laugh escapes past my lips. She offers a smile and then, laughing, adds,
For real, though? I'm going to your party as Dorothy. Do you think I can get Joey to dress up as Toto?
I laugh as I picture her straight-edged, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, all-American boyfriend dressed up like a dog. Scrunching up my button-shaped nose, as my father describes it, I say,
Nah, you should totally get him to dress up like the Scarecrow. You know, lack of brains and all.
It takes a second for my words to sink in, but then, once they do, she shoves me hard in the shoulder as she scrunches up her nose and narrows her eyes at me.
Hey, that's not funny,
She states, even though she is laughing just as hard as I am.
Come on, babe.
I say as I hook her arm with mine.
Let's go to the cafe and get some munchies.
We continue to giggle as we cross the courtyard, over Main Street to our favorite spot, the Corner Cafe. Appropriately named so because it literally sits on the corner of our 2 busiest streets, Main and High. We fling the glass door open, and the tiny brass bells rattle obnoxiously above our heads. Ella skips off, going up to the counter where her boyfriend is standing opposite her, taking orders. Our favorite spot to sit is vacant, so I take one of the seats, an old-fashioned, blue-painted soda shop-style chair, and not so gracefully flop onto it while I wait for Ella to join me. My gaze drifts towards the large bay window, and I stare out it, people-watching for a moment, until my attention is drawn back to Ella and Joey due to their loud laughter. For a split second, a flash of jealousy consumes me while I watch the lovebirds enviously. I so badly want what they have. To be in love, all flirty while sharing secret smiles with one another. To be loved by someone other than my parents. Don't get me wrong, I've gone on dates and even had a steady boyfriend all through my junior year, last year at the academy, but we just didn't have that spark between us, and we decided to break up. Funnily enough, he started dating someone else a week later, and I know I probably should have been upset by that fact, but I wasn't bothered by it one bit, because I know there's something more out in the world. Resting my chin upon my hand, I sigh audibly, and then close my eyes to let daydreams dance across my mind. I hear Ella flop down on the seat across from me, still laughing at something Joey must have said beforehand.
Alina, are you asleep?
Cracking my left eye open a bit, I peek at her and smile.
Ugh, no, but thanks for ruining my daydream. Okay, anyway, here's your chai tea drink. Thingy.
She says, making a face and then rolling her eyes at my choice of drink.
Hey!
I exclaim.
Don't make fun of my green tea goodness.
Just then, my cell phone vibrates and shimmies halfway across the table before I can grab it.
Crap. I didn't realize it was so late. Mother just texted asking where I am. I'm supposed to have dinner with them tonight.
I stand and pick up my drink from the table, take a sip from the pink stripped straw, and then ask,
You gonna walk back with me? Or am I once again making the trek by myself?
Honestly, I already know her answer, but I love giving Elle a hard time. Elle grins back at me.
I'm gonna hang out here with Joey for a while. I'll meet up with you before class tomorrow morning, though.
I nod and wave goodbye before I walk out the door to make my way back to the dorm room so I can get ready for dinner with my parents. Dominic arrived late in the night at the academy and was met by his liaison. He was led to the faculty housing and shown to the apartment he would be living in while there. They spoke briefly, and then his associate handed him a piece of paper that had listed the 4 potential students' names, so that Dominic knew whom to keep an eye out for. As he tossed his belongings onto his bed, he took a deep breath in, trying to calm his nerves.
This apartment isn't much to look at, that's for sure.
He muttered out loud to himself. There was a private bath, which he was most thankful for, not having ever been a big fan of sharing bathrooms with others. The room itself held a simple, brown, 4-drawer dresser, a nightstand with 1 lamp upon it, a twin-size bed off in one corner, and a little nook that was considered the kitchen within its 4 walls. This is my life for the next however many months I will be stuck here. I suppose it will have to do, Dominic thought, as he glanced around the small, dorm-styled room in acceptance. Glancing at his watch, he was shocked to see that it was well past midnight. He rummaged through his bag, grabbed his phone charger, plugged it in, and then crawled into his not-so-comfortable bed. Swearing a curse word or two, 6 a.m. had bestowed itself upon him way too soon. Ugh, he groaned as his alarm chimed annoyingly in his ear. Rolling over to shut it off, it took a moment for him to orient himself to his surroundings before realization hit, and he jumped out of bed. Shocked that he had been able to sleep so soundly in such a new atmosphere, he glanced at his phone, only to realize he had less than 20 minutes to get ready, find the combat room, and meet the instructor that he would be pretending to shadow while he acquainted himself with the students in hopes of locating the one. Quickly, Dominic entered his small bathroom, and since he didn't have enough time to take a shower, grabbed a washcloth and scrubbed his face. After wiping a hand towel across his eyes and cheeks to dry off the excess water, he brushed his teeth and then ran his fingers through his near pitch-black hair in hopes of taming the unruly locks that kept falling into his line of sight. Stripping out of the clothes he had fallen asleep in, he pulled on a pair of gray Academy-issued sweatpants and the standard-issued white t-shirt with the Academy's emblem in the top left corner in gold and black colors. A sun as black as midnight with gold light enveloping it. Apparently, the athletic department didn't have to wear formal clothing around their students, which made sense because of the amount of physical activity they all were involved with. With a deep breath in, Dominic slowly released the air from his lungs, pushing it out through his nose as he tried to calm his nerves. Once he felt like he could maintain a semblance of composure, he stepped out of his faculty housing apartment, the click of the door behind him sounding almost ominous. Shaking his head for such a ridiculous thought, he began to make his way across the campus in search of the training room. October 26th brings Monday morning upon us way too fast. Yawning, I grumble to myself as I slowly get my butt out of my bed. I feel like I'm dragging my body around the room as I throw on a t-shirt and slip on a pair of sweats. Walking out into the hall of the dorms, I spot Ella shutting her door as I have just done. Spotting me, she skips over, pulling up her blonde locks at the same time into some semblance of a ponytail.
Good morning, you gorgeous creature, you.
Ella sings near my ear as she loops her arm with mine, grinning widely. Annoyingly, I might have thought to myself, but she need not know that.
Els Bells, you are too damn chipper.
I tell her as I unhook my arm from hers. She pouts at me for doing so, but I need to get my hair pulled up before we arrive at the training center if I didn't want to get detention. Twisting my long, light brown hair, I maneuver it so that it sits on top of my head, and then hook my arm back through Ella's once more. Ella and I find ourselves exiting the dormitories and out into an obnoxiously bright, sunny morning. We descend the cement steps and head towards the sidewalk that will take us over to the combat room for our elite combat class. As we slowly make our way across campus from the dorms to the class, a stranger, mind you, an insanely hot stranger, but stranger nonetheless, comes up to us and asks where he could find Jason Handler. Odd, Jason is our combatant instructor. All the students refer to him as Jay, though. As I go to explain that he will more than likely find Jay in his office, the guy and I lock eyes, and an odd feeling or sensation envelops me, almost like my soul is screaming at me that we know this gorgeous man somehow, though I've never seen him before this moment. My heart stops for a few seconds before beating again, a little too quickly for my liking, I might add.
He and I stare at each other, lost in a world all our own for a brief moment, before I am pulled from my daze by Ella tugging on my arm.
Come on, Allie. Let's get to the lockers so we can get our uniforms on and still be able to find a good spot in the training room.
She pulls me along behind her until we enter the building where the combat room is located. My second home consists of a very large, wide-open space with blue-colored gym mats covering every inch of the floor and practice weapons hung along 3 of the walls. All of us students are sporting all-white karategi uniforms. Currently, we are waiting for the arrival of Instructor J with the other 13 students who are in the top ranking with us. Patiently, we wait for like 1 whole minute before we begin questioning each other about Instructor J's delay. Seriously, he is never late, I think to myself. Elle jabs me in the ribs with her bony freaking elbow as she tries to get my attention. I hiss out loudly as I grab my left side. She laughs loudly at my pain. And then, just as we start to voice our thoughts out loud about Jay's absence, the classroom door is pushed open and he finally strolls in. However, he is not alone, and everyone notices right away. Jay stands at about 5'9" and is just a few years older than the students he teaches. Someone told me at the beginning of the school year that Jay had just turned 23. He has been out of the academy for just a few years, but he has mastered the arts of combat fighting and rightly deserves the teaching position.
Hey everyone. Sorry I'm late.
Jay said, as he slings his gray gym bag off into a corner of the room. The not-so-quiet whispers begin to swarm around the room immediately, as the other students and I all gaze upon his follower. It's the stranger that spoke with Ella and I outside. More often than not, Jay tends to be absent-minded. This very moment is a great example of his forgetfulness, as we all cross our arms over our chests and raise questioning eyebrows at him, waiting for him to tell us who the guy is.
Oh yeah.
He adds, glancing up to the sound of our voices, as though he had completely forgotten that someone followed him into the room.
This is Dominic Salvino. He will be shadowing me for the rest of the school year so that he will be able to take over as instructor the following year here.
As my eyes meet Dominic's once more, that weird sensation tugs at my soul again. I know this guy, but that is impossible because other than right outside of the classroom, I have never seen this guy before in my life. And yet, I feel a sort of lifeline connecting me to him, a cord I can almost see. When Jay finishes speaking, we all begin to question why there would be a new instructor coming the following year. He holds his hand up to stop us from chattering before saying,
I'm going to be working in the field come summer, probably with a few of you seniors, so I have to ready my replacement.
Jay's eyes travel over all of us as he smiles. And then, collectively, our eyes shift to gaze upon Dominic once more. Dominic lifts a hand in a shy, bashful sort of wave, sharing the most adorable, dimpled grin I have ever had the pleasure of seeing, and my heart flutters in response. As I look around the room, I notice that all the girls seem to be in agreement with me, which causes my blood to heat for some reason that I'm not willing to try and understand.
Hey everyone, I know Instructor Jay introduced me as Dominic, which is my given name, but I would much rather you all call me Nick, if you don't mind.
His beautiful sky blue eyes continue to hold his smile, even after it has seemingly faded from his lips. And I swear, the girls, as a collective whole, simultaneously, in appreciation of his undeniable hotness. The dimples, which were a byproduct of said smile, has something stirring deep in my stomach, and I have to press my hands against my legs to make sure they haven't turned into a pool of liquid like I feel they have. The sound of Instructor Jay's hands clapping together jars me from the daydreams trying to take over my mind. The sound makes all of us jerk slightly, making me think that I'm not the only one fighting off the fantasies the newcomer has caused.
All right, since we have Nick here, everyone can be teamed up evenly, and I can actually observe you all for a change.
Jay looks around at our group before he continues.
Okay, everyone, go ahead and grab a partner. Begin your sparring routines.
I watch as all of the girls drag their feet as they slowly start to partner up with each other. I'm assuming all of them move at a turtle's pace because they are hoping to be called on to pair up with Nick. I try not to laugh, I swear, as I watch them all, but I can't help but ask at them before turning to ask Ella if she is ready to begin. Before I have a chance to do so, though, I hear Jay shout out my name.
Alina!
I want you to pair up with Nick. He was top ranked when he graduated last year from one of our sister academies.
As he finishes speaking, I swear I hear some of the girls growl in jealousy of me being picked over them, which makes a blush creep up my neck and cheeks. I close my eyes for a second, and then shake my head at their nonsense. Forcing a smile across my lips, I open my eyes and begin to pad across the sponge-like flooring. Walking over to him, I slowly look him over from head to toe, instant attraction taking hold of me. I have never been so drawn to someone when I first met them as I am with him. He is 6'1" in height, making me have to look up to see his face, which is a nice change since most of the guys on campus are my height or shorter. I clench my hand, making a fist, as my fingers itch to run through his hair, which is as black as raven feathers. And when he turns his head just right, his hair catches the light from the sun, spilling through the large black-paned windows, and an iridescent shimmer settles upon his head, which of course only helps to heighten the color of his eyes, making them appear almost silver. I can tell he works out because his arms are very well defined in his snugly fit white Academy cotton t-shirt. If I had to guess, I would safely say he also sports an 8-pack under his shirt as well. And even though he is wearing gray sweatpants, I can almost guarantee that his legs and butt are just as well defined as the rest of his ever-so-toned body. I sigh to myself in appreciation at the male god that stands before me.